Welcome back to Crashing the Glass. My name is AJ. Hope y'all are doing well. We haven't had a whole lot of NBA action since the last episode. It's been pretty quiet as far as the trades and free agency goes. Not a whole lot of signings have happened since we last talked. I think the biggest free agent signing that we've had since then would be Cole Anthony being bought out by the Grizzlies. He's headed to the Milwaukee Bucks, which I really like that pickup for the Bucks. No more Damian Lillard on their team, so they got to fill that hole. They also, I believe, they re-signed Ryan Rollins, so, just strengthening that depth chart a little bit as far as the guard positions go. But I'm really curious to see how that works out because Cole Anthony is a great player, and I think he's going to provide a lot for the Bucks team with his playmaking and just everything else he can provide. It's going to be interesting to see him on that team. The Bucks are really trying, man. They're trying, and I respect them for kind of going all in on these Giannis years where he's reaching 30 years old, and it's like he's not going to be playing how he's playing right now forever. So they're just trying to capitalize on that and respect it for that. As far as the NBA goes, other than that, we've got the Summer League going on right now. It's in full swing. And I just want to touch real quick on that because as a Kings fan, we're 2-0 in Summer League. Doesn't mean a whole lot. But I've really liked what I've seen from the guys. I think that, we got some ones. We got some ones for sure. So, in the first game, Maxime Reynaud just comes out, okay, and it goes berserk. What does he put up, 16 points in, the first half? It was insane. He was shooting the lights out. He looked like a professional NBA player that can really make an impact for us and make a difference for us on the court immediately. I tuned in the game, and he's just shooting it like crazy. I'm like, oh, we got one. We got one for sure. Nick Clifford was a little bit slower to start, but then second half, Nick Clifford shows up and, balls out too. I'm like, no way. I feel like we did really good with this draft. I'm really happy with the two guys that we have in Sacramento. And, Nick Clifford ended up with 17, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. I really liked from what I saw from both of these guys. Devin Carter definitely taking leaps too. In the second game that we had, he definitely had a bigger showing, a better showing, a showing that I expected to see kind of from the jump in game 1. But he comes up in game 2 and puts up 30 points on 10 of 13 shooting, 5 or 7 from 3. Yeah, that's just nasty. That's nasty. Yeah, he was showing them how it's done. Also 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds. This dude is not that tall. That's really impressive from him. I'm curious to see what his role is going to be on this team moving forward because I really like this young core that we've got going in Sacramento. I mean, I really like what they're building, and they're not the youngest rookies is what I mean by that is they're drafting guys like Devin Carter fits this example too, but these guys are 22, 23, and they're a little bit older, which deters some other teams from them, but I really like the culture that they're building in Sacramento with these young guys, and it's a problem, right, when I'm watching Summer League, and I'm having more fun watching these young guys play than our actual team play. It's not very exciting. You got Sabonis and Levine and DeRozan. It just doesn't lend itself to fun and exciting basketball, but they're, going to be middle of the pack no matter what happens. Because just the talent level alone is going to get us to that kind of around that 40 win mark. But I think giving some of these young guys some more run, especially in the regular season, is going to be really beneficial for us in the long run. And to utilize their strengths and to run them. And we've never had, when I was watching the Summer League, we've never had a center like Maxime Reynaud and the Kings in my lifetime. Just a stretch big that can rebound the ball, that can put it a little bit on the floor, has some post moves too. And he's a good defender. I mean, it is Summer League, so everything's with a grain of salt, right? Can't make any broad observations, but I mean, you can only make broad observations. You can't make any definitive remarks about the way that Summer League is played. But Maxime Reynaud was a pretty good defender from what I saw. I like the way that he can move his feet, moves his arms, really active on that side of the floor. I don't ever expect him to be a rim protector as far as the premier and elite rim protectors in our league. But I definitely think that he can be a pretty good help defender, and I think that he could hold it down enough to get by. I mean, even just in a couple of Summer League games, I think that he is not, the drop-off isn't that far from Sabonis defensively, and obviously we all know Sabonis isn't a great defender, so I think that Maxime Reynaud could definitely improve as far as that goes. And Nick Clifford, man, he's balling. I really like our young guys. I'm excited about what we got building here. I feel like this is one of the only spots of hope as a Kings fan is okay, putting some eggs into these young guys' baskets and saying they're going to be at least a competitive NBA players because we need more of those on the roster that just match the way that the game is played today. I mean, I feel like I say this every episode, but it's just so different now with the speed and and just the way that depth is so important, and the Kings are the exact opposite of that. The way the roster is built is not like these teams that are contending right now. And I think that some of these young guys like Devin Carter, Maxime Renoni, Clifford, I think they're going to be real NBA players that are going to contribute in a way that we need them to. I mean, having a guy like Reynaud who can be just a sharpshooting big is extremely beneficial in today's NBA. That is like the modern archetype, and just the way he moves. Like, I'm not going to say he's anything like Chet Holmgren as far as their games go, but just body style and just the kind of fluidness of it, it definitely reminded me of Chet Holmgren a little bit. I mean, obviously much different skill sets. Chet Holmgren is much better defensively, but just having that kind of center mold is, I think, going to be good for us long term. Just to have someone that can do something different than we've ever had before, which I'm really excited to see how all of these young guys turn out. So that's all I've got on Summer League, and let's jump into my top 15 shooting guard rankings going into next season. These are my top 15 shooting guards heading into the 2025-2026 NBA season, and this list was pretty hard to put together. There is a lot of talent at the shooting guard position that I did not expect when I was going through it. And before I get into it, I just got a quick disclaimers. It's so hard to define positions in today's NBA. I don't know what positions everyone plays, so I'm just kind of going off what I feel. And, using NBA 2K, honestly, looking at okay, what do they have them listed as? And then using that as kind of a reference point. Not the rating side of it, though, because 2K doesn't actually watch any kind of basketball, I don't think. The ratings over there, the rating people, because it's absolutely ridiculous, some of those ratings. Especially when you dive into, the not to go on a rant here, but the actual individual attributes on every single stat sometimes just doesn't make any sense. They'll have someone like Austin Reeves with a 90 dunk, and it's like, what? What is that about? I don't think that's a real example, but you know what I mean if you play 2K. And there's a lot of talent here at the shooting guard position. I didn't expect the depth to be here. I feel like the top end talent we don't see quite as much of as some other positions, but the depth, there's a lot of quality NBA starting level players at the shooting guard position. So let's dive right into it. First off, I got to mention the injuries. Kyrie, kind of a 1-2 combo guard at this point in his career, but didn't really have to define him because he's injured, so he's going to be out for most of next season, so he's not going to be considered for this list. He would have definitely been on one of these 2-point guard or shooting guard lists. And I hope I don't forget anybody from these rankings. I'm going to try to get every single person that deserves to be on these lists and not forget them positionally. But here's some honorable mentions that didn't quite make it. There's quite a few. All right, Quentin Grimes, just not enough experience. I feel like he's had some great flashes, but the longevity just isn't there, and he could definitely jump up on his list next season. Anthony Simons, kind of same thing, flashes, but I haven't seen it for a long enough stretch and a long enough period of time to confidently say that that is the NBA player that he is now. Jaden Ivey, again, not enough time. He's had quite a bit of injuries, but Jaden Ivey could 100% be on this list next season if he has a good year. Herb Jones, just not quite enough offensively for me to put him over some of these other guys. Josh Giddey, he was kind of a hard one to leave off just because of the leap that he's taken this last season. But I'm not considering him just because, again, the time. I haven't seen it for long enough. And is it real? Is he actually going to drop 30-point triples, doubles consistently? Triple doubles? I said that wrong. Is he going to do that consistently? I'm not sure, but I hope that he can prove to be a building block for the Bulls because they're a bit in the no man's land like the Kings. And I feel like the Bulls and the Kings just keep making these trades with each other, and it's like you're just trading mid for mid. You're not getting anywhere. Anyways, I digress. Let's get into, Stephon Castle, another honorable mention. Great rookie season, but hasn't shown me quite enough to put him above some of these other guys. And then we've got, this kind of mold of sharpshooter archetypes, bucket guys, but microwave. I don't think they contribute to winning in a way that these other guys do that are on my list, like a CJ McCollum, Cam Thomas, Malik Monk, all kind of similar archetypes as far as just getting buckets, but I don't value that as much as winning basketball. And then Lou Dort, left him off the list for number 15, his teammate Alex Caruso. Now, Alex Caruso's counting stats are not nearly as good as some of these honorable mentions, especially a guy like a Cam Thomas who drops 22, 23 points a game. And DeJounte Murray, forgot him. He's also an honorable mention. Didn't make it on my list. Too many injuries. I don't know if I can consistently count on him. But back to Alex Caruso, definitely not the counting stats like a guy, like all these microwave kind of guys. But Alex Caruso contributes to winning basketball in a way that none of these other guys do. He's never going to jump off the box score. He's never going to jump off the stat sheet. But when you watch the games, you could see he's immediately making an impact on the team, especially in their finals run. Maybe I'm being a bit, recency bias as far as that goes. Just seeing him in the finals recently contribute to winning basketball in a significant way. But there were times throughout their playoff run, even before that, where he, in my opinion, felt like, that's the correct term there, is I felt like he was the second best or third best player on that team at certain points. And that is no slight to J-Dub or Chet Holmgren. It was just the way that he was impacting the game is extremely beneficial to winning basketball games. And just the defense that he provides when he is guarding a guy like Jokic, you can put Alex Caruso on the best NBA player, in my opinion, the best player in today's game who has inches on him. He is how tall is Alex Caruso? 6'4", 6'5", maybe? I mean, Jokic is 7 feet. He's got 7 or 8 inches on him, right? So I just don't know how I could leave him off this list with what he was able to do in a Game 7 guarding Jokic. Really, really impressive stuff. Even outside of that, he's just a fantastic defender, is one of the biggest hustle guys in today's game, and had to give him props for doing everything he did this season and putting him number 15 on this list. Number 14, I've got Christian Braun, who really took a leap this season and giving him the nod for that. I'm putting him above some of these other guys just with his ability to put the ball on the floor, and he is one of the best transition players in today's game. The way he's just able to get a rebound, immediately sprint down the court, and go coast to coast. I don't know many other players that has his level of athleticism that can do that. He's one of those sneaky athletic guys, right? You look at him, you're like, okay, he's pretty athletic, but what he's able to do on the court is just really impressive. Put up really good numbers this year too, and just being that complementary piece to a championship level roster is something that I'm valuing pretty highly, because if you're on a winning team, it's obvious to me that you are impacting games in a positive way. Meanwhile, some of these other guys that might have been honorable mention, which is are on bad teams, and whether that's their fault or not as far as winning games go, it's just hard to look at it and say that they're better players than some of these other guys like a Christian Braun or Alex Caruso who were on winning teams. And the next guy I got here, who also falls into that camp a little bit, is Andrew Nembhard at 13. Because he really, really contributes to winning basketball. Kind of like Alex Caruso with his ability to just play defense, and a bit more offensively, though, which is why I ranked him above these other guys, is just his ability to take the ball off the dribble, hit these clutch shots. He's one of those clutch dudes in the game, has a beautiful mid-range game, and I feel like he definitely benefits from being the number 3 option kind of on that team, 3 or 4, however you look at it. Because I guess he's above Nesmith, so I guess Tyrese is the 1, Pascal's a 2. You could kind of flip-flop those 2. Maybe Miles Turner's above him, but that Pacers team, just the way they play, is so fluid, and that is a big part to the way he's able to handle the ball too. He can be given those primary bringing the ball up the court responsibilities. You can trust him with that. He's a great playmaker too. Not quite in the same level as some of these guys in the point guard position, but he is a fantastic player, and I'm a big Andrew Nembhard guy, just the way he's able to impact the game. And I realized that's what I was kind of ranking this position on, is the ability to impact winning basketball. So some of these other guys, a bit lower, like a Quentin Grimes or CJ McCollum, Cam Thomas, it's like, oh, CJ McCollum should be left off that, because I've seen him impact games in a positive way. But I'm just really valuing that winning basketball. But just considering player for player too, and trying to look at it a little bit in a vacuum. So yeah, the next guy I got here at number 12 is Dyson Daniels, who also, like Christian Braun, took a huge, huge leap this year, was in Defensive Player of the Year conversations, and in my opinion, he was my Defensive Player of the Year just with what he was able to do on that end of the floor. And he could literally guard 1 through 4 like stopping anybody, guarding the best player. He can move his feet like no other. He is really, really impressive on that side of the floor, and even took an offensive jump too, the way he's able to just fit into their system and to get points and to not force it, and his percentages look good because of it. I can only wait to see how that translates next year if he can continue to be on that rise, or if he's kind of plateaued. Because if he's plateaued, he's still a fantastic player. So I just wonder what the ceiling is for him moving forward. And the next guy I got here at number 11 is Austin Reeves, who is a fantastic player. I mean, this dude can just kind of do it all. Not the best defensive player, but what he can bring offensively cannot be understated. He is the number 3 option and benefits from that. You play with a guy like Luka, you play with a guy like LeBron, you're going to benefit from it, no doubt. And just being able to be set up, but he capitalizes on all of those moments. A fantastic shooter. Can get to the rim, too, even at his size. Really impressive when he's getting downhill. And he's a great playmaker. He really is. I really like what he can do off the dribble, setting up his teammates. And that's a skill that really is going to be beneficial for him moving forward, is just his ability to set up his teammates, to contribute to basketball. And his off-ball movement's fantastic as well. Really big Austin Reeves guy. Can't wait to see him next season. And at number 10, we've got Jalen Green. Now, Jalen Green is a bit of a polarizing player, in my opinion. He is kind of hard to put into categories with just the way that he plays, his play style. It's hard to determine what kind of player he is going to be, because he's still growing and he's still learning, but just his archetype of kind of being this microwave guy, could just put up 30 points like it's no big deal. But I don't know how much you could build around that. It's like, what do you do with that? And it seems like that was the crossroads that the Houston Rockets were met with him. And it seems like they moved on from him. As far as even before he got traded, it seemed like he was the guy that was going to go out the door. Eventually he did. Goes to Phoenix, and then they get back a guy like a Kevin Durant, who is much easier to mold a team around, and you can now say, okay, the Houston Rockets are championship contenders. So then that leaves Jalen Green going to this Phoenix situation, which who knows what's going on there, playing with 2 other shooting guards who one of them is not on this list, one of them is a bit higher on this list. And it's hard to determine where to rank him, honestly, because I don't know what his value is as far as winning basketball goes. I ultimately ended up, here at number 10 because I think that he can provide a bit more than some of the other guys below him offensively. Not a whole lot defensively, but he's good. He's good enough to get by, and that's important, just to not be a negative defender on that end of the court. But I feel like I'm giving Jalen Green the benefit of the doubt here and saying that he is going to really take that next jump next season, just to be able to fit into a system being one of the primary guys. And he was kind of that in Houston too, but I don't know. I just hope that he can translate his game in a more impactful way than he has previously. And his stats are pretty good too, like he has good statistics, but you're watching the games and it's like he just doesn't. Maybe it's the fact that he shies away from the big moments sometimes, or at least it feels that way watching. I don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, he should have been the guy at the end of games to take the ball and say, okay, I'm going to go get us a bucket. But they didn't end up like that. Sometimes it was Sengun, sometimes it was Amon Thompson, and it's like Jalen Green should have been that guy but wasn't. So I still have high hopes for Jalen Green moving forward, and I hope that he can kind of find a new home in Phoenix, or whether he gets moved again. We'll see. At number 9, I've got Mikal Bridges. Probably had the biggest package for him traded, other than Desmond Bane, who's a little bit higher than him. But 5 firsts for a guy that's the 9th ranked shooting guard is a bit steep, in my opinion. But hey, the Knicks, they did it. They move on from it, and they're in a winning position now. So you just got to capitalize on those moments when they come. But Mikal Bridges didn't show me quite as much as I would have hoped for this most recent season, but he still is a phenomenal NBA player. Defensively, I feel like he took a little bit of a step back, but you can still put him on the best player on the other team, and he can do that. I feel like some of these guys that are ranked here, I'm giving a little bit benefit to being the 3rd or 4th option on their teams, right? Because on the Knicks, it's Jalen Brunson, it's Cat, and then it's like Mikal, is he third? So OG. I don't know, but they win basketball games, and that's what's important to me, at least. And Mikal Bridges, he could put them all on the floor. He has this mid-range game that he could just tap into, and I would like to see that more, and maybe we'll see that with the new coach in New York and Mike Brown. I wonder if we're going to see Mike Brown run different sets for individual players. Like, I think Kat and Mikal are the two guys that he should get more involved, because Mikal Bridges is one of the most just unique offensive players in today's game with what he's able to do from the mid-range. So I would like to see some more sets run for him and to kind of tap into that a bit more, because we've seen stretches of that in the playoff games and in just the regular season where he gets into his bag and he could just carry the offense for stretches at a time, for an entire quarter sometimes. If he's like, put the ball in his hands, he's going to make good things happen, where he can just cook you from the mid-range. We've seen, the playoff moments and everything, but I can't wait to see how all that plays out with Mike Brown in New York, whether he's going to get Cat more involved, whether he's going to get Mikal a little bit more involved, because there are moments in that offense where it's like, it's just the Jalen Brunson show, right? It's just hand the ball to Jalen and get out of the way, where I feel like they could run definitely more sets for some of their other offensive threats like Mikal Bridges. So maybe he could take a rise up this list if he plays extremely well next season. I'm hesitant to see how all that plays out in New York. And then number 8, I've got Norman Powell, who was in All-Star conversations and had a really, really good season this past year. Really took a leap as far as the offensive side of the ball goes. And he's just able to create off the dribble. Is such a sharpshooter. I mean, what a year from him. I think he definitely could have been an all-star, but the West is super competitive. You put Norman Powell in the East, like he is now on the Heat, and he could definitely make another all-star game, that's for sure. And just to see him take that leap at his age, too, because I think he's 30, 29 or something, it's just rare to see a player jump up that much and be given just a different role in the way that he was given that role with the Clippers with Paul George leaving, and just that opportunity opened up for him, and he shined, man. He really, really shined this past season. And I really liked what I saw from him. He's kind of like, it was hard to rank him against like a Mikal Bridges, right? It's like, who would I rather have on my team, like a Norman Powell or Mikal Bridges? I gave the nod to Powell just because of this last season, but to me, these margins are super slim between some of these guys. You could, move some of these as far as the actual numbers go. You could kind of alter them. I don't know. It's pretty tight. It's really, really slim margins between these guys. And then at number 7, I've got Desmond Bane, who is pretty close to these other two guys before him. But I gave the nod to Desmond Bane just because of what he brings defensively. I think he just locks into something else and can get to a different level defensively than these other guys that are in his kind of similar range. It's almost easier to do tiers with these rankings than actual number positions, but we like a challenge. So I give the nod to Desmond Bane. Just got traded to the Magic, but had a really, really good year. He can shoot the ball really, really well. I mean, he's a fantastic shooter. Probably on a similar level to Norman Powell, but I think he just brings a little bit more. He can rebound the ball. He can do a bit of playmaking a little bit. I think he's going to fit into Orlando exceptionally well. Really one of the most stockiest guys in the NBA for sure. But the short wingspan, it does not affect him whatsoever, and he still contributes in a massive way. And then here is where it gets really tough for me, because at number 4 through 6, I think all these guys are so close in my opinion and just bring different skill sets to the table. So at number 6, I've got Derek White. And I could have put him at 4. I had him at 4, but then I decided these other two guys right above him bring a little bit more. But Derek White, man, and a lot of this is just what option they are on their team, right? Because Derek White has been the 3rd or 4th option in Boston behind Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and sometimes Porzingis. I mean, if like they kind of flip-flop, Porzingis didn't play a whole lot, so we saw a lot of Derek White. But Derek White is exceptional what he's able to do in big moments and just on the court. Defensively, made the Team USA probably because of that alone, just his ability to guard other guards and other perimeter players. But he can also bring so much offensively, and I feel like he could definitely move up this list if I was able to see him be the number 1 or number 2 option on a team. And I think we're going to get to see that this next season. It's Jaylen Brown and Derek White show in Boston. I cannot wait to see him be a bigger threat offensively, because when you're being guarded by the third best defender on the other team, I think you're going to be given a lot more opportunities than if you're guarded by the first or second best option defensively on the other team. Because these other guys that are a little bit above him are always guarded by the best defenders on the other team. Meanwhile, Derek White kind of benefits from being on such a good team, and that's no slight to him. It's just the position that he's in. But yeah, it's really hard to rank these couple guys, man. Derek White is really exceptional, and I really like him as an NBA player. Since he shaved the head, he's locked into something else. He's on a different level. He's really playing fantastic basketball. Then at number 5, I've got Tyler Hero, who just made an All-Star, really, really good season. But I gave him the nod over Derek White for a couple reasons. One, like I just mentioned, about the options. Tyler Hero has shown that he can be a number 1, number 2 guy on a playoff team. And that is really impactful to me. I really value that highly. And just everything he could bring offensively. He can run a bit of point too, a bit of running that, playmaking position. But Tyler Hero to me is more of a 2. I feel like he played a bit of 1 this past season, but in my opinion, I see him as a 2 more than a 1. Being that microwave guy who could just heat up and shine in the big moments. And Tyler Hero, man, what else is there to say? He's a really, really good player. I'm curious to see how this next season goes for them. They just picked up, they have Andrew Wiggins from the trade last season, just picked up Norman Powell. So now we've got 2 really good shooting guards next to each other who, they can both run a bit of playmaking too, run a bit of point. So Tyler Hero, man, great season. Next up, we've got at number 4, Zach LaVine. Now, I might be a bit higher on Zach LaVine than others because A, I think he is extremely undervalued in the NBA, and B, he's on the Kings, and he's my guy, and now I'm rooting for him. So I'm a bit biased, and I'm really high on Zach LaVine. I think that he has just been in bad situations, and let me explain what I mean by that. He has been on these teams that are just not good, and I don't think that it's his fault for being on these teams that are quote-unquote mid, These middle-of-the-pack teams he's been on throughout his whole entire career, or even worse than that, and he's never been put in a position to play meaningful basketball games. And that's no slight on him. It's just the teams that he's been on, the rosters that he's been on. Just the construction of them does not lend itself to his skill sets. And I think that there's too much hate on Zach LaVine, and he is not that far off from these top-tier shooting guards. What he's able to do this past season is just extremely underrated, right? He put up just insane stats on fantastic efficiency. And since he came to Sacramento, putting up the same kind of efficiency, literally to the T, the same stats as he was when he was in Chicago. He is so consistent, and I'm valuing that a lot. Now, when you compare him to Tyler Hero and a guy like Derek White, I don't know, it's so hard to put these guys against each other and say, who would I rather have on my team? But that efficiency and that consistency I'm valuing very highly, and I think that Zach LaVine's just a touch above these other 2. Now, if I was building a team from scratch and I'm just having guys that are plug and play, I would rather take Derek White over Tyler Hero and Zach LaVine. I think that he fits better as far as defensively and just being able to play with everyone. But player for player, in a vacuum, Zach LaVine just has a different kind of skill set, and Tyler Hero as well, than Derek White. And they are just different kinds of players. And I'm putting Zach LaVine above those other 2 guys. I feel like he's the top of this tier, and then we kind of get into the top 3. But Zach LaVine had a fantastic year, and I think that if he was on a better team, I think people would start to see like, oh, wow, Zach LaVine actually plays winning basketball. And he's just one of the most efficient scorers in today's NBA. And he's been that for years, and he's just been on these bad teams, and I don't think it's his fault. And then let's get on to the top 3 shooting guards. So these are kind of the consensus top 3, and this is my order. So at number 3, we've got Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker was considered to be kind of the number 1 guy for a long time at the shooting guard position, but I feel like after being in Phoenix for so long and just having these rosters, and not his fault, but just the way that he has not been able to play on these good teams has kind of hurt his value, in my opinion, as far as these rankings go. he could still do it all, right? He's kind of that. He's been playing a bit of one, but he's a two in my opinion. I think he's more of a shooting guard than a point guard. He's been delegated to his point guard responsibilities because the roster construction is so bad. That's not his fault. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I think Devin Booker is able to score the ball like no other. He is extremely, extremely efficient as well, but his shortcomings is less so because of him and more so because of the team. And also these other guys have just proven to me that they're able to be at that level at this point, heading into next season a little bit higher. Because at number 2, I've got Donovan Mitchell, and then at number 1, I've got Anthony Edwards. So kind of spoiled the top of the list, but it's kind of crucial for the commentary on this because when you're comparing these top 3 shooting guards, right? I've got Anthony Edwards 1. I think he's proven to be the best shooting guard in the NBA, and I'm giving the nod to Donovan Mitchell over Devin Booker for a couple reasons. One, he's on a better team. Now, that's not Devin Booker's fault, like I've said before, but it does have to be considered. Number 2, Devin Booker just doesn't have quite as much, what's the word for it? He doesn't have quite as much dog in him, honestly. He just doesn't. Donovan Mitchell is a pit bull. This dude just goes at the rim with no fear and can literally just carry an offense, and we've seen Devin Booker do that, but just not to the same caliber and not to the same degree. Now, Donovan Mitchell definitely benefits from playing with Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and if you switch their positions, the Cavs are as good with Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker plays just a different style of basketball than Donovan Mitchell, and I'm giving Donovan Mitchell the nod for that. But at the end, and then at number 1, Anthony Edwards, he has proven time in, time out, he is the best shooting guard in the NBA. No stop. He's the best. With what he's able to do, especially this last playoffs, back-to-back years, Western Conference Finals, I mean, that's huge. We have not seen that, even from Donovan Mitchell, taking his team to the conference finals. Devin Booker did end up in the finals with a pretty good roster, but since then has kind of taken a step back as far as winning basketball goes. But Anthony Edwards right now is at the top of that hill. He is the king of the hill for sure with what he's able to do on the basketball court. Just a tenacious defender, can guard anybody, it feels like, and just really, really extremely versatile athlete with what he's able to do, getting to the rim, putting the ball on the floor, and just diving. And the leaps that he took this year with his 3-point shooting is insane. Leading the league in 3-pointers this past season on great efficiency, and is one of the premier superstars of today's NBA. And he's just a step above these other 2 guys. Has kind of reclaimed the throne from Devin Booker. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this next season plays out for these top 3 guys here, because I think the margins are so slim between these top 3. And Devin Booker could easily jump back up to that number 1 after a good season. But I feel like he's just kind of been coasting a little bit. Just re-signed a huge max extension too for $75 million or something per year. Really insane stuff. But yeah, that's all I got. Let me know if you disagree, which I'm sure you do. And a couple of the positions that were hard to rank for some of these guys, like an Amen Thompson, I'm putting him at small forward. He's really, really positionless, though. And then Jalen Williams, I feel like he's kind of more of a 3 because Lou Dort kind of plays it 2. Jaylen Brown, we've seen him play a bit of 2 in his career, but I'm putting him next week on small forward. And then RJ Barrett, also, he's more of a small forward to me. Although RJ Barrett is an interesting one because he definitely could have been considered a shooting guard because he played a lot of that this past season. But I don't think that his natural position is a shooting guard. I think he's just delegated to that because of the current roster construction. That's all I've got for today. Let me know if you enjoyed the episode. If you did, rate it 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on. And I'll be back next week with my small forward rankings, top 15. We'll be back at it. And that's going to be a fun one, man. There's a lot of good small forwards in today's NBA. But yeah, it's the offseason. It's pretty quiet as far as the NBA trades and signings go. It's kind of slowed down a bit. I think we'll still see some more chips fall as the days move on. Deep into Summer League now. Really excited to see how all that plays out. Room for the Kings. Hope they can win Summer League. Kings have been pretty good in Summer League. I was looking at the Summer League MVPs the past couple seasons, and I didn't realize Davion Mitchell won in 2021, and then Keegan Murray won 2 years later. So Keegan Murray was already kind of a stud by that point, so I'm surprised he even went to Summer League. But that's all I got for today. Hope you all enjoy it. Till next time, peace.